Warning: something in your home, workplace, or automobile could be killing you and you don't even know it. It's not what you think. Make sure your speakers are on and turned up. This is something you don't want to miss. If you have any of the following symptoms or conditions, you absolutely need to stop everything you're doing and keep watching. You're constantly tired. You want to go back to bed the second you wake up. You're overweight. You have sexual dysfunction. You have type 2 diabetes, tumors. You have joint pains. You have chronic headaches. You have twitching for no reason. You have numbness. You have cramps for no reason. You have chronic pain for no reason, or any other mystery symptoms you may have. Male or female, it does not matter. Even if you have none of these symptoms, this could be the most important message you could ever hear. I'll get to the point in a minute, but before I do, I would like to introduce myself. You can call me Vito. It's not my real name, but in order to conceal my identity for reasons you'll find out later, we'll just start with Vito. I'm from the south suburbs of Chicago. I'm not a doctor, and nothing I say should be used as medical advice. Nothing I say should be used to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The information I'm going to share with you is my own personal theory based on my own opinion, from my personal experiences, and I cannot prove or guarantee anything I'm about to tell you. But I am open for any scientist to try and prove me wrong. They have to do the challenge I tell them to, though, for me to take them seriously. I'll explain later. Just in case you were wondering, I'm not a Harvard-educated scientist. I'm not some kind of health guru. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a health expert. In fact, I'm not an expert at anything. I'm just a real, regular guy with a story to tell. I have to get up and go to work tomorrow just like you. The only difference is I am nowhere near as tired in the morning as I used to be. I'm not 100% back to normal, but I'm certainly not where I was just a few years ago. You see, it all started while living in a 2-bedroom apartment on the garden level. Something just started to seem off. I was feeling depressed. I was tired. My sex drive was slowly diminishing. I gained about 50 pounds. I was miserable, and it showed. I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. I changed my diet, started eating healthy and working out, and to my surprise, I still felt the same. So I did what any other person would do who was having these symptoms. I made an appointment to see the doctor. My appointment to see my primary doctor was a few days out. In the meantime, I kept hearing this ad for a clinic that would restore your sex drive. It was promoting testosterone pellets. Their ads would also talk about how the testosterone pellets could improve your mood and make you less tired, so I fell for it and I went to get some. My testosterone was in the 600s, which isn't really low in medical standards. I mean, if you were a bodybuilder, that may be low, but just not for an average guy like me, considering one of my friends just told me his was in the 200s prior to me coming. I ended up spending thousands of dollars to get these pellets inserted in hopes it would solve my problem. I was desperate and would do anything to get me out of this misery. Months later, they tested my testosterone again. It was in the 800s, but the way I felt, it didn't make a lick of difference. In my opinion, it was worthless. I was still miserable, and it wasn't my thinking or my attitude. I had a great thought pattern, and my attitude was filled with hope and gratitude. But I must admit, I was desperate to fix what was wrong with me. The only thing the testosterone pellets did for me, besides drain an extra $2,500 out of my pocket, was leave me with an infected cut on my side. At least it seemed to me. After that, my body would start twitching around the area where the insertion was made. I knew I shouldn't have done that. It should have been a red flag when I asked the guy who was doing the procedure what the product was made of, and he didn't even know. How do you not know what you are inserting into a human being is made of, especially when you do this for a living? It just blew my mind. From my experience, I wouldn't recommend wasting your money on this, in case you were wondering. Just FYI, if you have low libido, I will tell you my opinion of what causes it and what I think you can do about it. It's not the conventional information you normally read about. It's something totally different. So I finally get into my appointment with the doctor. By this time, I wanted him to look at my cut from the insertion, which basically looked healed, but I knew it had to be infected because I could still feel it pulsating. Anyway, he did a checkup and ordered some blood work, to which, if I remember correctly, it came back with nothing. I couldn't believe that I could feel so sick, yet a doctor not be able to tell me anything is wrong. He had to be missing something. There was just no way. As time went on, I began slowly losing all the sensation all over my body. I could feel someone touch me, but there was no reward to any type of touch. I noticed this slowly going away as I would get haircuts and the girl would massage my head, and after a while, everywhere was like touching your thumb. To make matters worse, when I came home, I noticed a drip on my bathroom floor. I looked up and it was a leak from the ceiling. My neighbor's bathroom upstairs must have been leaking into my unit. It made me wonder how long that had been leaking for. My neighbor upstairs happened to be a sheriff, and when I knocked on his door and told him about the leak, he was willing to check it out, but he was a little defensive at first as he thought we were going to get insurance companies involved and things could get ugly. But to his surprise, I told him it was no big deal, that I would redo the damaged part of the bathroom in my unit if he would just fix the leak. I think that took a weight off his chest, as I think he already had enough issues going on in his life, as I believe the reason he moved in upstairs was because he and his wife had separated. I'm not sure though. I didn't want to bother my landlord or anyone else, so I fixed the bathroom and everything seemed fine, but I was still extremely sick. It took its toll on my relationship because I couldn't be myself anymore because of the sickness. Eventually, the person whom I was renting from decided to sell the place and I had to move. At this point, I didn't have the energy for anything, and the last thing I needed was to have to move. We all know how much of a disruption to life moving is. It's even worse when you are so sick you don't even want to get out of bed. And the worst part was my girlfriend at the time didn't even believe me. A couple of days went by after I made the repairs in the bathroom, and I was shocked that my neighbor did an awesome deed by leaving me a 12-pack outside my apartment door. That was an awesome move on his part. I really appreciated that. So I ended up moving, and I'm still about as sick as you could possibly be. I was really at my wit's end. I honestly couldn't take it anymore. I was tired of people telling me it's your diet, especially when I ate healthier than most of the people telling me that. I was sick of these people who were in perfect shape telling me that they had the answer when all they had was the holy grail to nothing. Oh, and not to mention the annoying friend that tells you, just change your attitude and everything will be fine. If it was that simple, don't you think everyone would be happy, healthy, and rich? Although in the end, I did partially think my way out of this, but it's totally not in the way you think. I'll explain in a little bit. But at the time, I was stumped, and I'm sure you could relate. I was feeling like a burden to everyone. I didn't even want to talk about it anymore, but I was dying inside. I was running out of options. I went to the doctor multiple times, only to be shrugged off, to be told that I was fine and it was in my head. I even went to specialist after specialist. I knew they were wrong. I knew it wasn't just in my head. The doctor would say things like, maybe you're just depressed. If you've been down this road, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I knew there had to be something causing me all of this misery. I was tired of acting like everything was fine, even though it wasn't. My life had literally become my own personal hell on earth. I knew there had to be an answer, and I literally would beg God every night to show me what was wrong and how to fix it. I kept going to the doctor, and eventually I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. It was so bad that eventually my A1C ended up at 13.4, which is insanely high, considering normal is somewhere in the 5s, I believe. My urine was literally like honey. But one thing that was off was that I knew it couldn't be my diet that caused this, as I ate more spinach than Popeye, and I was literally eating a very clean diet minus a couple too many beers every now and then. So if type 2 diabetes was caused by your diet, I thought there had to be something wrong with that theory. It just didn't make sense to me. My memory was deteriorating at an alarming rate, and I was starting to not remember anything. It was noticeable to almost everyone around me. I would lose my keys and notice later they were in my hand. If you have this going on, I'm sure you can relate. I'm going to continue on with my story, but I must warn you I can't just put this out there for everyone to hear, and as you know, it takes money for me to advertise this so I can get my story out so other people who are suffering can hear. What I'm going to tell you is not fully accepted in the medical community, and there are many doctors and researchers who will disagree with me and what I have to say. Even though I think it will make perfect sense to you once you hear it, like I said before, this is only my opinion based on my experience, and I have no way to back up what I say with scientific research, and this information is solely based on my own personal theory and experience. But I must tell you, what I discovered has the potential to revolutionize the way we think about disease, but the profits are so big from the drug companies with how they do things now. It's almost certain what I say will have no effect on how it will be continued to be done. I'm a carpenter by trade, and if you're in construction, you almost have to hear what I say because there's no doubt you've been exposed to this killer. There's no doubt in my mind that you are here by a divine connection to hear this message. God works through people, and I know that He's working through me to get this message out. I'm not one of those crazy preachy types telling you that God is going to give you $1 million. Just give me your money. But what I am saying is that there is a reason you're here today. You're looking and praying for answers just like I was, and this could be the answer in the desert of lost hope and revolving door doctors to which you've been searching. I've been there, I know. I have no doubt in my mind that if I didn't figure this out, I would be dead right now. But by the grace of God, He showed me, and I'm here to show you what happened to me so it doesn't happen to you. I believe this could literally save your life. I'm not asking a whole lot to give you this information, but as you know, advertising is not cheap, and I'm not some super rich guy who has tons of money to throw around. So I rely on people like you to spend the small amount of $47 to obtain it. Just pay the $47 and I will immediately send you an ebook explaining my theory about what could be killing you right now and you don't even know it. I'm writing it in an ebook format. It's only a couple of pages and easy to read. There may be some misspellings as I'm a carpenter and not an English major. I know how important it is for you to know this, so I had to make this site and write this with the very little bit of money I had. This is about bringing awareness to what I believe is a devastating killer that is plaguing our society. Go ahead and download it now. This is information you can pass on to your kids and grandkids to keep them safe. This is nothing to take lightly. $47 could save yours, your kids, and possibly many other people's lives and/or quality of life. Don't wait. You're not here by accident. Get your copy now. You need to know this. I can almost guarantee you will come across this at one point in your life, if you haven't already, and if you know what I'm going to teach you, it could save your life. Please don't wait. Your kids deserve for you to know this. I think a lot of my health problems at a young age were caused by my parents not knowing this. Just click the button to download it now. You can read it immediately. If you don't want to know this, you're either perfectly healthy or you're suicidal. This killer can take a healthy person to their knees in no time, and if you're suicidal, well, this could be the reason you feel that way. Oh, and if you're African American, you definitely need to see this. In my opinion, this could be one of the reasons you have higher rates of diabetes and asthma than Caucasian people. It'll make sense once you read this. If you live in a trailer park or camper, you must read this. If you're a teacher, you must read this and tell everyone at your school. If you're a fireman, you must read this and tell everyone at the firehouse. If you're in the military, this is an absolute must. I'm pretty sure nearly everyone who reads this will be thanking me unless you're a doctor. Then you might hate me, unless you're one with an open mind, but we know that's like finding a needle in a haystack. What if almost everything you've been taught is only a partial truth or just plain wrong? Have you ever questioned anything you have learned, or do you believe everything? The medical community's lack of knowledge led me to this discovery. I didn't have a choice. I was in survival mode. Figure it out or die. I ain't dead yet. If you aren't a doctor and you went through what I did, you know my frustration. After knowing what I know and going back and forth to doctors who couldn't figure anything out or warn me I was on the verge of death, I would rather be armed with this little bit of knowledge for $47 than a $250,000 doctorate education. I know that's a bold statement considering I'm a pretty humble guy and I'm not comparing the two. I'm literally just telling you which one I would rather have. I just want you to understand my point of how powerful this really is. Plus, if you are a doctor, I will show you one test that you should be giving the patient like me or the thousands of others you think are hypochondriacs. Maybe once you get the results, it'll make more sense to you since you need science for everything. In case you're wondering, I don't hate doctors. In fact, I love mine that I have now because he's humble. He has an open mind and he knows he couldn't possibly know everything. And for the record, I don't claim to know everything either. After all, I'm just a poor carpenter and I lost everything because of this. That's why I'm so passionate about it. You need to know about this. Just download the ebook now. This could possibly be the most interesting thing you've ever read in your life, and it's probably not what you're thinking. I have to get to bed. Just download the ebook.